The Bernina 880 has a ton of decorative stitches, and by now you've heard me talk about stitching them all out, creating a stitch book, and we'll put links below this YouTube video where you can check out how to make the ultimate stitch book. And here's just a couple blocks from our Bernina Stitching Cosmos online course, where knowing which stitches stitched different sizes helped me determine which ones I applied to these blocks. Now in this one we actually used the Bernina circular sewing attachment to create those perfect stitches. I was even able to couch in a ribbon in here, create the stitches, create more stitches, and applique, and then add my extra details. Even here where we added, after doing a ruffled piece, that we added a decorative stitch to cover up that single line stitching down the middle. And don't forget all those extra stitches on this machine, because you do have sideways motion stitching, allows you to get much larger results. So I'm going to show you a couple tips that will help you stitch out your stitches and create a library for reference. As you start to explore the decorative stitches, you'll find that each of these folders have different groups of stitches in them. There's multiple pages, or you can pop open the menu so you can actually see more at a time. Now, just because you see these stitches and you're like, yeah, Sarah, they're okay, but I just don't use decorative stitches. Trust me, if you start stitching these out, I guarantee that you're gonna fall in love with them. You're gonna realize how pretty they look. They're gonna look different in thread than just pictured here on your screen. Now just note that as you look at these different folders, you notice that some have this little plus on them. On the folders with the plus, those are stitches that actually sew side to side. You're going to notice they're going to be wider than the presser foot that is pictured on your screen. So those are the larger sideways motion stitches. You even have stitches down in the quilting menu. So don't forget to come down here. You've got lots. And don't forget to check out where you can save to your personal program your favorite stitches as you find them. Maybe you're sewing one along and this turns into one of your favorite stitches. By the way, 302 is one of my favorite stitches because I love to add like a little yarn through the middle here and it couches it where that satin stitch is. So saving that into your personal program allows you not to forget about that stitch, and it's easy access to the stitch. It's like making a little copy of it. So as you start here, we'll actually start with this stitch and I'll stitch out some of those additional ones. Next, you need to have stabilizer underneath your fabric. Otherwise, your stitches are just going to kind of gather up your fabric. They're going to not look as smooth. Another little trick is to use your start-stop button instead of holding your foot on your foot control. I'm going to set the speed a little bit slower just so it doesn't race off on me, and touch and hold the start button until it actually starts to stitch. Now, once you get more comfortable with the speed of the machine, you can go ahead and go a little faster. I'm just keeping an eye on the edge of the presser foot that it's staying parallel to the edge of my fabric for this first stitch. Now, another thing that I want to show you is how do you get a stitch to kind of be finished at the end? So you're not just stopping in the middle of a decorative stitch. What you're going to find is right here, this top button is your pattern end button. So as you approach the end of your fabric, I'm going to touch it. Notice it lights up and it is going to finish the pattern, cut the thread, and lift the foot. And now you have the perfect finished row of decorative stitches. Now usually what I do is I just go ahead and take my foot, line it up with the first row that I stitched, pick the next stitch on my menu. I'm going to pick one that's a little bit more complex, one that I again love to use, and then just stitch this down a little bit. Now the other thing that you can do with decorative stitches is start to change the width and length, so you can actually adjust how long it is, how wide it is, or how narrow it is, and you can get different looks with these decorative stitches. Oh my goodness, you're going to love what this looks like when you see it in variegated thread here. So you can see immediately that these stitches take on a whole new life when you stitch them out. Try it with some variegated threads. Try it on white fabric, try it on black fabric, and see which ones you like the best. Get used to using your pattern end and your start-stop button to help speed up this process. If these videos have been helpful, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to check out our Bernina Stitching Cosmos online course, where you get to invite me to join you for over 8.5 hours of sewing instruction on the Bernina machines.